Christy called me last summer and said, will you come and talk about what you're doing with goal setting in your classroom? Stevenson is in Southwest Portland. It's a small school, and it's K-5 that I work with there. And I said, sure, you can't say no to Christy. But with that, so, and I just need to tell how this really evolved is what I do now started with attending the teacher advisory board. So all of you get on the teacher advisory board. And on the teacher advisory board, Christy talked about how she wanted to start a goal setting packet and asked those of us on it to really look at putting it into practice. So I took it and tried it, and then also on the teacher advisory board, Shannon was on it, and she talked a lot about how her kids would set goals, and then she'd have hot cocoa every Monday morning at her school. And so I wanted to kind of look at how to take that and do it. And it took me about a year to put this all together in the form it's in now, really figuring out where I wanted it to fit into my overall program. Also, what I wanted the kids to learn from doing it. We have such limited amount of time, and how it would work in my setting. So one message really goes back to what is the goal. And what I really wanted to look at was how I wanted kids to learn that process of really defining what they want. How do you do those steps? All of the skills, a lot of what we talked about this morning and what goal setting takes. And how do you do that with 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds for it? I also looked at, I don't necessarily see kids every day. A lot of my kids I work with twice a week, some once a week, some 4 times a week. So what ended up working for me in my setting was putting a goal booklet together. And in the packet you'll see in resources you have the masters for all of this. And then every goal is a different color here, so it's easy to find where the kids are. Then they have their whole goal booklet for the whole year, and they take it home at the end of the year. This is also when you meet with parents. They are so impressed by this too. The other thing, since I wanted the kids to really look at the process, the first year I started to say, oh, they have to be learning goals, stuff from the classroom, looking at the teacher, completing work. I turned that over to them, saying, because when I really defined what I wanted, it can be home, it can be school, it can be sports team, it can be whatever you want it to be. But to really go through those steps of writing the goal, why do you want it? If you pick some of these up, they want to reach their goal to get hot cocoa. I mean, we're dealing with 6, 7-year-olds. So what I really learned, though, out of that was a lot of the home stuff, it really fostered discussion amongst the kids. Because one day, so they write their goal, we then developed a tracking sheet and a concrete way to measure the goal. So, like this month, one of my students, her parents put her to bed, she gets up and starts doing artwork, and they wake up and find her. Her goal was to stay in bed. And, so then how many days is that? Well, it's every day. And then how many days do you have to do it? Other kids, you'll see in the video, a lot of kids will talk about homework, turning homework in and stuff. We cross off the days of the month. They don't do that. So then they say, oh, there's only 15 opportunities. How many stars do I need with that? So it really gets them that sense. A lot of the children I work with have executive functioning. I want them to start thinking ahead, picturing ahead, doing that. So of what it is. So go ahead. So Noah, what was your goal?
To do better at math.
But what specifically, what were you going to do to get better at math? Practice, multiplication?
Cards.
Flashcards. So he wrote that as his goal. And why did you want to work on that?
I'm going to get better at math.
And he planned what he was going to do. What did you say you were going to do?
Do it at my family at home and at my dad's.
And what did you make? What it says? What does it say?
I need to have flashcards.
So what did you do? Made flashcards. And we did. Did you practice yesterday?
But I always forget to tell my mom.
Did you practice Monday? Sunday? Saturday? These days? So, how many stars did you need? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got a 12. Did you meet your goal?
Yeah.
You get hot cocoa. So we do go over them 2 or 3 times a week. Have a calendar we go through every day, crossing out. Basically, we have it on here so they know where it is. We do it once a month. About once a month.
You don't take it home.
The hot cocoa? At the end of the year.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. No. So, last spring, figured out the colors work real well to find the one you're on that month for the kids, and then at the end of the year, they take it home. So we do flip back, look at other goals that you've done and everything.
Each month is different goals.
I turn that over to the kids. And what was going on here, as many of you in elementary schools will know, this was a 4th grade group. There's 1st graders in there because the teachers planned a buddy lesson with their buddy class at the same time. I had them bring their buddies. So the 4th graders were explaining to the 1st graders how it worked, and then the 1st graders got the hot cocoa also. So that's why Noah was really explaining what his goal was to his buddy with that. So then they also got the hot cocoa. Other things that have happened, because we do it once a month, and it's with their group, my Learning Center group that I have with them, the kids start talking as they're developing their goals. Last year, a lot of the goals dealt with sleeping. And I didn't realize how many of my 1st and 2nd graders sleep on the floor of their parents' house. And that just was a common theme. Brushing teeth is another common one. The sensitivity, they don't want to brush their teeth. So they started talking to each other about ways to sleep in their own beds. What they can do, started helping each other and talking about how to brush their teeth. It also really, it's a small building that's high achieving. Kids that don't necessarily achieve feel very isolated. They're finding other people that have similar struggles to them that the typical child in our building doesn't have.
Do you do goal setting with all the students that you work with?
I don't with the kindergartners. I do starting about 1st grade.
And what, just curious how your schedule works. How do you fit that into your schedule?
I give up 1 day of our program a month. That's when I talked about, this is how I fit it into my program. And then to go through the booklet, it just starts out as part of our beginning thing, or I either do it at the beginning or at the end. Usually at the end of our session is Go Noodle, Shadow Bucks, and Goal Booklet. Just very quick with that. So, but it's just a system that I have found works for me in terms of the preparation, everything. Costco's where I get hot cocoa. They don't stock it year round. So when they do get it, I get about 3 boxes for the course of the year with that.
I asked logistics and
Uh-huh.
how do you get the hot water?
I have a sink in my room. I have hot water, an old coffee pot, and just pour through. And then I have a bunch of mugs I got at Goodwill.
Perfect. Do you invite only students that have made their goals?
No,
for it? How does that-
everybody at the end of the month. So everybody at the end of the month has this. We look. What I can tell you, some of the kids, they're reading at home. Their goal is only 4 or 5 because I know getting them to read at home at all, if they do it twice a month, it's a brand new thing. Other kids, it's 20.
Sure.
So, and that they focus on theirs and they don't focus on each other's. With that, it's real personal to them. I do have kids that don't make it, and we move on. And we just turn it over and say, okay, here's the new month.
But they come to the.
They don't get the hot cocoa, they still come.
But is it just at your regular reading time or something?
It's at our
Okay,
regular group
okay,
time.
that's what that was.
Yeah, it's at our regular group time if I meet with their group. If it's not, I pull another group in to join a group. And if I don't see the 5th graders, I try to match them up with when I have the 2nd graders, and then they help out with that. But the discussion that has come out of it has just been incredible for the kids.
How long is it, so you, once a month you meet with your, so you have your learning, you have your groups you do during the month, and then once a month, you meet with them. Are you, how much time are you, does it take you to kind of go over goals with kids?
To do the goals and do that,
Because you do like a few groups
I
during the
either
day
meet for
or-
30 minutes or 45 minutes, depending on the group.
Okay, and then is it usually grade level you do it?
Yes, I mean, most of my groups, I mean, I have one group that's 2nd, 4th, and 5th. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's whatever their group is.
Yeah, that's great.
So whether it's, I do 3 executive groups a week. So I do one of those days because some kids I only have for executive functioning group. And those are I do a 1st, 2nd executive functioning, a 2nd, 3rd, a 3rd grade executive functioning, and a 4th, 5th executive functioning group. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's this year. So next year will be the 4th grade. Yeah. So I try to pick one of those days because there are a number of kids I only see that one time. So this happened to be a 4th grade reading, and he's 4th grade, she is. There's their 1st grade buddies, and another table has the other 4th graders with their buddies.
You don't necessarily need to have them tie their goal to whatever that group is. You're just kind of
Right.
helping them learn to think about what it looks like to
Yeah.
set goals
And
process.
that's what took me a whole year to figure out, was my goal of doing this. I want them to go through that process a number of times. Uh-huh. And what's real exciting is after 2 or 3 years of doing it, I mean, there was one day I overheard a 5th grader talking to another 5th grader teaching him this. And then the mother, because she learned this process. A friend of hers had to do a piano recital. She was helping that person put together a calendar of her practice schedule to get ready for the piano recital. So the mother of that girl came to me going, she's promised something out of the shadow store. And I said, we'll do it. If I have a student who's teaching another student how to do this. Yeah.
So for like practicing flashcards every day, so
Uh-huh.
does he practice Tuesday night? Does he come in Wednesday morning and mark his calendar right away, or how's like the progress monitoring work?
I trust them. I'm not checking up on them.
Uh-huh.
And we open it up and say, what was your goal and did you do it?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't check in daily or weekly or anything?
I
once a month?
try to check in at least 3 times a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that they see it over the course of the whole month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a quick 5 minutes.
It's just a
check-in, how
quick,
you've been
and
doing it.
they lie to me, they lie to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
most of the kids aren't lying. They're not lying, but
Some kids have more than one goal, or?
at this point, we just do one.
One a month.
One a month. Or one between every hot cocoa party.